I'd have to look at.
Go.
Good evening, it's 6 o'clock, and I would like to call the Saugatuck Township Board meeting to order. I would just like to explain that Supervisor Bigford is excused this evening and she's not feeling well. So Rebecca Israel will be taking over for her in her absence. So please help me out and we'll proceed. I'd like to acknowledge that the other 4 board members aren't here and Bigford has an excused absence. If you would like, please bring in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The third thing on our agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda. Is there any corrections or additions to the agenda this evening?
Yes, I'd like to see if we could have an item for under new business. I think the bridge fleet agreement. Saugatuck does not have it on their agenda this time, and hopefully they will by December. And we want to do this collaboratively and in conjunction.
Item number 7.3.
Yes.
Removed by Marcy. Is there any other with that? Okay. Would anyone like to approve the agenda as amended?
I will move to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll support.
Moved by Marcy and supported by Howard. I don't need a roll call vote, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to public comment. Morgan, is there anyone on Zoom this evening? No. And there's no one in the audience. So we can proceed to number 5 on the agenda, the consent agenda. Is there any additions or concerns or questions about the consent agenda? Would like to make a motion?
Move to approve the agenda. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the consent agenda was presented.
I'll support. Moved by Marcy, supported by Aldrich. Is there any other further discussion? And that will be a roll call vote.
It's
I can
voice vote.
A voice vote. Okay, I'll call the roll. Marcy?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmut?
Yes.
Israel's yes. Motion is carried. Number 6 on our agenda is presentation, and I don't believe we have one this evening. Is that correct, Daniel?
That is correct.
Number 7, moving on, is new business. The first thing on the agenda is the moratorium extension. Daniel, would you like to address that?
It would be my pleasure, Clerk Israel.
Thank you.
So, you all are well aware, because we passed this in May of 2023, and passed a 6-month moratorium on new commercial and industrial development to give us time to adopt the new zoning ordinance. That has all gone to Planning Commission as planned, and they're doing a thorough review of it, which is fantastic. And we have a public input session scheduled for November 21st. But we will need a few more months in order to have that public hearing for Planning Commission and then bring it to the board for adoption. And so we are recommending, or staff is recommending, that we extend the moratorium another 6 months or until the board appeals it. So we may not need the full 6 months, but it gives us a cushion to complete our review at the Planning Commission, have them hold their public hearing, and then bring it to the board for adoption.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Daniel concerning that or comments?
My only comment, and he and I discussed this, was approving 6 months, but we can also end it soon, which I think is probably the desire.
Absolutely.
So having said that, I'd like to move to adopt resolution 2023-17, a resolution to extend the existing moratorium on the acceptance of building and zoning development pending the approval of a new comprehensive zoning ordinance.
Second.
And Chris, we feel this would be a little call.
Moved by Helmrich and supported by Marcy. I will do a roll call vote. Helmrich,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Yes. I forgot who I was. Any further discussion? Motion. Second is the 123 net Metro Act permit. I think we have a lot of information about this permit.
Apologies.
But, Daniel, would you like to address this with the board, please?
Yeah, so we have received an application from 123.net Incorporated. It's a Metro Act permit application, and this is to install broadband cables in the telecommunication right-of-ways in the township. They've provided a map that indicates some of the areas that they might extend the cables. It's not confirmed, it's just they can give a tentative map as part of the application. And then once they receive their permit, they will finalize that map. In a way, it's kind of a perfunctory item on the agenda. So the state of Michigan passed the Metro Act, which allows for telecommunication companies to have access to the telecommunication right of way and put up those cables. And then if they are running cables in the right of way, the Metro Authority will collect rents for that, and they'll distribute some of that rent back to the township. So we do already collect Metro Act funding. So we'll collect a little more money as a result of this, depending on the length of cables that they actually install in the township. So again, it's a little bit perfunctory, but it's also kind of exciting because this is really the direct work of Allegan County and the broadband group and their director, Jill Dunham, who's done a lot of work to secure a grant for 123.net, which is now allowing them to extend broadband where we don't have broadband currently in the township. There are not any reasons that I can see for the township denying the permit. The township attorney did review all of the application materials, and he's confirmed that the application is complete. And we do have 45 days to respond yay or nay to the application. And we received this on October 10th. So unfortunately, with the week of our board meeting, I think it was the day before, but we have plenty of time to respond within that 45 days.
Did you all get your postcards this week? Yeah. The county, under Jill Dunham's direction, sent postcards to every postal person in the township. We got one here. I got one. Are you sure?
I may have gotten one. Goodbye to the post office. I don't know very often.
If you have IP, you're okay. If you don't, let her know.
Oh, okay.
Soon, you're okay.
And that was in our minutes here too, to let her know, which I appreciate. Just a quick
Check
question.
it in.
So we have to fill it out?
No, it's just a postcard. You probably just paused it, but it was great that they reached out so broadly to residents.
I do it just a kind of a out there question. And then what percentage of the township do we know? What percentage doesn't have broadband?
I would say majority, but
Okay.
it's hard to say because
Yeah.
where we have the most population density, a lot of those areas do have access to broadband. So the north of the township where you see the most density has access to broadband.
Okay.
It's really like the south and farther east that doesn't have broadband, or when you get to like certain geographical areas, like a river, that have proved challenging. So this is really why the county's efforts have been super helpful, and then to the federal government in providing, I forget how many billions of dollars they made available to the states to make available to private companies to run the broadband, but it just wasn't economically feasible for these companies to invest the money in running the broadband, but with the help of the grants, that now they can do that in these areas that have been challenging to run broadband, either because there's certain geological obstacles in their way. In our case, it's the river, or because they're rural areas. Again, that's like the south of the township. So it really is, again, it's perfunctory. It's the majority of the township. So like land-wise, the majority of the township does not have access to broadband. In terms of the population, I would say probably the majority of the population does have some access to broadband, but like the lakefront doesn't have broadband, the south of the township doesn't have broadband, streets closer to the river don't necessarily have broadband. So quite a bit of the township does not have broadband.
I think it's spotty on, my directions, the south side of Silver Lake too. Not as, we're better, not perfect, but spotty on the other side of the lake. I think people will really appreciate it.
I think so. Yeah, and if you know of anybody who
In particular? Okay.
yeah, like that says that they don't have broadband, make sure that you tell them to email Jill Dunham, because the contract is saying that they have to provide access to broadband to everybody. Because you often hear people complain like, my neighbor has it, but I don't, and they want to charge me $20,000 to extend it to me. Well, the contract says that the company can't do that if everybody is included. So if you do not have broadband right now, and you have not given your address to Jill Dunham, do it now, because then you will be included in the contract. It'll be explicitly called out, and there'll be accountability, because if all of a sudden you're not included and you don't have it, 123.net has to provide it to you.
And Jill's letter with information is page 86 in our packet, and she explains that.
She explains that, yeah.
Urge them to respond to it.
Okay.
And then, I'd like to suggest that we do an e-blast of the actual postcard.
We can do a write-up. I think it would look weird to do unless I got the digital file from her.
I'm sure Jill.
Yeah, we have done e-blast before on this, so like we can do another, and I've been on the radio before talking on it.
I know, but this would give more people.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't get to, we can't push this too much.
Yeah, no, I can definitely do another e-blast.
It's on them to say, I don't have.
Someone's been putting out, is it Facebook messages, or there's some little, they're great, little 1 sentence, 2 sentence. I was wondering if something like that would work too.
We can do that too.
We should do both.
Yeah.
Everything we have.
I feel like a motion. Okay. I'll move to approve the right-of-way telecommunications permit for 123.net.
Moved by Marcy, supported by Aldrich, and we will do a roll call vote.
You can just do a voice vote.
Voice vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Motion passes. The next thing on our agenda is the Wiley Street increase assessment resolution 2023-18. Daniel, would you like to talk about that? That was on page 93. If you're looking at, it's the SAD increased assessment resolution. Okay.
So we have been moving forward with the water main extension for Wiley Road. We put out a bid proposal, and last week we got 3 bids back, which is great because we got multiple bids in. The lowest bid came in at $58,900 to do the extension. It was the lowest bid, but it was higher than we were hoping for. Part of the reason is that materials are, the cost of materials have gone up, the cost of labor has gone up. And we discovered that that site is high in arsenic, which is going to require the construction crew to wear special equipment, which increases the cost of the labor. So it was not the best news, but it was not the worst news because we got one bid in that was a lot higher than that. So because of that higher bid, the original estimate for the assessment is going to go from about 150,000 to 198,000. So that's about a 31% increase. So because of that, we're going to have to amend the assessment in the original resolution that we passed to establish the SAD. So the way that we do that is by resolution. So that's what you have before you, to pass a resolution to amend the assessment to increase it to cover the actual cost of the project. All the participants in the district have been contacted. They understand the new cost. They understand what it means for them specifically. And they're all in favor of us moving forward with it because they do really want access to water.
I have a question just on the numbers. Well, I'm looking at the Prime New tabulation.
Yeah.
Georgetown Construction says 158,900.
Yep.
But the motion would be for 198,250. What are the additional costs there?
Engineering,
That's the
attorney
prime.
fees.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, those little engineers.
so the lowest bid was 158.
That is correct. And I think it like the fact that site work came in at 160,000. I think that does demonstrate that it's a solid bid. That they really weren't like throwing in things that shouldn't be in there. That it just reflects the market right now. But the good thing is that they can do the project in May. So we're looking at a completion date of about June 14th. So all those people will have water come the summer so they can start planning construction for the home. So it really is like, I think it's a happy ending. It's a good project. It was a lot of work, but it's a good project. And I think it's benefiting real people who live in the township.
Daniel, are we approving a new resolution or are we amending resolution 2023-18?
That's interesting and a good question. So it's it's a resolution to it's a new resolution that amends the special assessment role from a previous resolution. But it is a new resolution, correct? That's correct.
Okay.
And so it would be a roll call.
Okay.
And just to clarify, from a treasurer's point of view, this special assessment district would go on the winter bills for tax year 2024.
That is correct.
Which is next.
That is correct.
Any other questions? Thank you. I think you explained that well. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution 2023-18, a resolution to confirm the increased assessment for the Wiley Road Special Assessment District.
Is there a second? I'll second. Moved by Howard and supported by Aldrich. I will call, is there any other questions? No? Then I will call the roll. Howard,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yeah.
Marcy? Yes. Israel, yes. Motion passed 4-0. And last on new business is a bid award for Wiley Road Water Main Extension. And Daniel, would you like to talk about that?
Absolutely. So this is kind of the same project, yeah. So this is actually to approve or award the project to Georgetown Construction and send them a notice of award for the project. And there are like formal documents and agreements they have to sign, and it's all kind of established by the engineering firm, they're, you know, formal documentation all pre-developed. But yeah, it's to send them a notice of award. The only thing that I would add, and I didn't include it in the original motion, but I think that, you know, it's not a bad idea to just include it, would be that our engineer Dana Berg recommended that part of the motion say at the very end, contingent upon the township making successful financial arrangements for the special assessment district. And that you can find the language for on page 98. And the reason I didn't include it in this memo is because we're not relying on a bond or like a bank product to fund this project. It's all coming from our own water fund. And 3 out of the 4 participants in the special assessment district plan to pay us right up front for the cost. They're going to refund us right away. They don't want the financing. It's only one party that wants the financing. So it made the most sense and it was the most economical to just fund it out of the water fund. So we're going to get that money back right away after the project's done. There's only going to be one party that's outstanding and we'll collect over a period of 10 years. So we're the guarantor. So we know that we'll make successful financial arrangements, but I don't think it's a bad idea just to include that in the motion itself. So it would say the motion at, you know, $158,900 contingent upon the township making successful financial arrangements for the special assessment district. That's on page 98 and it's paragraph 3. And it's that second sentence.
Anyone think that you have the motion? I'll move to award the Wiley Road Water Main Extension Project to Georgetown Construction Company at $158,900.
Contingent.
Sorry, I made
Paragraph 3, second.
I got the wrong one. Oh, right there. Contingent upon the successful financial arrangements for the special assessment district. I was reading the third, but I can't show that. Want me to do it all over? Or is that?
I think we're okay. You want me to do it over, John?
Yeah.
I'll
support.
They moved by Aldrich, supported by Hummer. Thank you. This is a roll call vote. Aldrich,
Yes.
Hummer,
Yes.
Marcy. Yes. Israel's yes. Is there any old business?
No.
All right, so we will move right on into number 9, record.
Oh, yeah, we're going so fast.
Oh, God. Floater.
No. All right. Treasurer's report for November 8th, 2023. All right, on November 1st, our general fund bank balance was at $869,000, down only $6,000 from October. And I was going to point, I didn't put this on my report, but I want to point out because we had some significant payouts from the general account to the Allegheny County Road Commission for work, BSNA to renew them for another year, and our web development. Those totaled $176,000. Point here being, we absorbed that beautifully. So, as I said, the total bank went down 6,000. We have no departmental spending overages, as we have not yet had this fiscal year. Revenues were 11% below budgeted amount. Operating tax revenue will begin December 1st, and that will prove that. Expenses, this is great news too, you know what I just said, are running 10% below budget. Tax year 2023 continues. Summer due date has passed. The total return rate improved from last month. We hit 90% because of the second late notice mailings that went out to 300 people that really helps. Prep is underway very diligently for the winter bills, which will be sent out on December. On the investment front, just to update you, the total investment value as of November 1st, it's actually a little higher than I wrote this report last week because some of the statements come in late. So we're at $5.26 million. We increased $150,000 in the last month. We have transferred, I have transferred in consultation with our supervisor. We sent $100,000 from our bank account to the My Class investment pool because it's performing so well. And again, that didn't dent our bank account that much. But this is important. We have three of our CDs mature in December. So our plan is to liquidate them and reinvest in more on that next month. I have to say this disbursements you did in the consent agenda include 2 disbursements made for the summer tax season. Number 7 was 1.5 million, the highest of the year because it's really crunch of people paying. Number 8 was only $20,000, but that was just some of the late payers coming in. There will be 2 more disbursements made. Oh, not in October, in November. Sorry about that. And just to update you, last week we had the auditors here for their on-site visit. In the 5 years I've been here, it's the smoothest one yet. Actually kind of pleasant. There were very few issues.
Oh, good.
And when there were questions between me and Lori. So, and then related to this, because we've been working with the accountant that works separately, but with Siegfried Crandall on bank reconciliations, we are totally balanced at zero unreconciled differences through September 30th. We're awaiting more. Now, this is separate. We're awaiting more assistance. Dan, the lead auditor, we've been asking him for a year to give us advice on tracking the interest on the investments. We now have 14 different investment accounts. When we started here, we had 1. So he's been promising us a template. So he has all the statements on all these accounts for this fiscal year, and we are waiting anxiously for his guidance on that. We do know that is something we've been asking to get a stronger handle. I think. Yeah. Thank you.
All your goodness, thank you.
Yes,
John.
no, it's still good news.
Something to celebrate. Do you have a planning commission update?
Yes, and this is verbal. I didn't write one up because our last meeting was continuing the review. Good news is we got through it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Good for you.
Oh, well, that is.
That's great.
So, yeah, it got quicker towards the end, but I mean, some of it's not as deep. But I wanted to point out, I mean, I think you just mentioned this, that's November 21st, week after next, 5 p.m. right here. It's the public open house comment session, and we've invited the original stakeholders. Hopefully next week, current draft version of the revised ordinance, which is hundreds of pages, will be on the website, along with, again, I say hopefully, we've really asked that we need an executive summary to draw attention to significant changes, because very few people are going to read, even though it's actually. But so that's as Daniel mentioned too, November 21st, starting early, 5 p.m. right here. It'd be great if you could attend.
November 1st.
21st, sorry, 21st. Then in December, the date of the regular planning commission meeting, Tuesday, December 19th, here at 6, will be the public hearing on these changes. One this month is comment, discussion, maybe some changes and tweaks that come out of that. We'll see. But then the 19th, we're hoping to get the public hearing.
December 19th, did you say?
Yes, December 19th, 6 p.m. And again, I mentioned this, the draft should be posted next week. Hopefully we'll do an e-blast. And I think even more importantly, for the public, the executive summary. Because for example, some of the issues we do want to bring light to are where we will now allow ADUs, accessory dwelling units. There's still some debate within the planning commission. Some people want to go, put a toe in the water and only allow them residential district 1. Well, we have 4 residential districts. Others feel like it's residential allowed. So that's still up in the air. One thing that I think he has responded to. Ganges Township a year ago limited the size of commercial buildings to 2,500 square feet. They did that to keep out Dollar General.
Or big box.
Yeah. So what we're hearing back from the consultant is, well, okay, we can go with that, but let's just do that in commercial 1, not all of them, like further ones out where you can have them for. So I think that's where we're at right now, but that's a significant change. But again, if we just limit it to the C1 district, that's where we're at. So again, those are the kind of things, I think, we.
Is this come to our board ultimately?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's the end is, when would that?
No,
be?
that's a great question.
Summer?
If what I just said goes as planned, the planning commission adopts this in December, it would be on the January.
At that point, if our board was not in agreement with something, we could discuss and
Yes.
change it.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Have we
so,
done anything?
so just want to be
Planning
clear.
commission is a recommendation.
Mhm.
So any of these specific things could be changed by an order of the board.
Okay.
So again, it'll be a lot of homework.
Yeah, we
That's
got.
why I really hope the
Really big
executive summary is
Uh-huh.
because it's hard for all of us. I mean, you're on the steering committee and these meetings, you forget what it was agreed to, and then you kept thinking. And I have to commend our building official, Saugatuck, who was on the steering committee, and God love her. She reads each draft, not even just word by word, letter by letter.
Yeah.
And she catches, because there's a chart here saying, what's allowed where, but then the narrative might say something different. So she has just been
It's got to be
incredible.
project. It needs to be done,
No, but
Yeah.
it's taken time, but it's huge.
Wow,
It's
great.
huge. So
Getting
again,
towards the finish line.
and I hope, we're doing it. Talk to people.
Okay.
If they come up in March after we've changed things, and they were really concerned about ADUs or minimum house size. It can always be changed again, but this was quite.
Is that the main topic you expect to cause discussion or don't you?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had more people inquire about the ADU aspect, probably than anything else.
Okay.
Everyone else might have a different,
Okay.
people come in and talk to more. I think a lot of people, I won't say most, because you never get it. So I think a lot of people know.
Will you let us know when it's posted? You send
Yes,
us
I
an
will.
email or
Oh,
something?
I will. I absolutely will. Yeah, I will send it to all you so that you can see it sooner than later. But like John said, like the buck stops with you, that you
Right.
do have the ultimate say. I would keep in mind that like you want to try to give any that's why I want to send it to you. Any
Mhm.
feedback you want to give, you can give. And it'd probably be good to weigh in, during like the 21st and
Yeah.
give some opinions. So the planning commission has a sense of what you're feeling. And then the other thing I would like to say is, this is not the end all be all of zoning ordinances. This was a big lift because it hadn't been done, I don't know, ever. I think they probably adopted an ordinance and it was just Band-Aid after Band-Aid. So this is really the first time that we're doing this comprehensive update. And I think we're just starting something new where we're, planning commission is a little more proactive. And there's plenty of opportunity to relook at things and update things. So this is not the last time. This is just a really heavy lift.
Great. Does anyone know, just out of curiosity, when it comes before us and we vote, can you pull items out? Or is it a yay or nay on the whole thing? Does anyone know that?
I believe it's out.
Okay.
You can make
Good.
those changes.
But we can have Lene here too.
Yeah,
I think then the
Okay.
whole meeting would.
well, I assume she's looking at.
Yeah, I believe so. We probably would have a special meeting.
Yeah,
And I would invite Cindy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are we gonna have hard copies?
Yeah.
Soon or before all the meetings, or is it?
Oh, wait, hopefully next week.
Oh,
Once it goes to planning.
Okay.
But I have a question, John, if it's, discussion on November 21st for the public, that is Thanksgiving week. What if people are gone and they want to weigh in?
I didn't set the schedule. They can
Okay.
read it and they can submit.
Okay,
They can call or email.
okay.
I'm gonna be zooming in, I'm gonna be gone. so-
And again, but
Yeah.
yeah, it will be on Zoom.
We could always include that in the e-blast, like if you're unable to make it, like please send us your, comments, written comments.
I think that's a great
We
idea.
can definitely do that, yeah.
And people can have issues or comments without reading it. I think that's legitimate. If someone is concerned about gravel mining or,
Mhm.
home heights, things like that, speak up. Because we've had some public have come to the meetings, not a lot. But it's hard to get people out. So we'll probably hear more from them after the change.
Probably.
That's like, right.
Well, John, thank you that you were also on the team for putting this together and your participation on planning. And so I think we all appreciate your work on this too, along with Cindy. But I would even say for the planning commission, I've noticed in the past few years, they're using the ordinances far more than they were used in the past. They refer to the ordinances for things. So I'm thinking it's a necessary step, and I'm really glad that we're doing it. And if we can be there on the 21st, I would encourage all of you to be there. I hear that, but I do know the team worked really hard for a year.
Oh, almost 2 years, year and a half before we started the advisory committees. Hey, Daniel was the chair of one.
Yeah, I mean,
That long ago.
it was really like, I would say,
It's been a long
Summer
time.
of
maybe
22.
no, I think it was like summer of 21 or
think
summer
it
of
was.
20.
Because we would meet over at the event center.
And when we had COVID,
Yeah.
my committee would meet
Um,
at Benny Royal, it was
Oh, that's
closed.
right.
Right.
So I think this is great. And I'm really excited for it. Is there any other questions though, or?
I would
Go ahead.
like acknowledge and thank Daniel who's on the stage. As was. Means it. Again, and Cindy was, it was a great group. So thank you.
Yes,
all.
it was. Yeah, and Dave was on that.
Yeah, the chairman, Riley. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a good.
Yeah, we were meeting at, like,
Ivy House. I always call it the event.
Oh, it was a crazy time.
But no, those were good meetings. And I really appreciated Cindy when she came on board too. I thought the clarity and the expertise and the experience brought a lot to our group, so.
Well, the other thing I'll just add, because this is essential to the mission, just to remind us all, the ordinance is supposed to be in support what's in the master plan.
Mhm.
And I don't know when the last time any of us read the master plan, but there have been in the past inconsistencies. We're trying to narrow, because that's supposedly how the zoning and the act works. support the master plan.
which is a tri-community master plan.
Right. Exactly.
We need to always remember that. Because they will work with us on that,
Mhm.
or in conjunction with us.
We can talk about it next year.
Yeah.
We did re-adopt it, but we haven't really, 2016.
Although we made some changes and the planning commission did pull 3 items to work on out of that master plan. So I think we're in compliance with reviewing it every 5 years.
No, we have, no, we're in compliance with, but the statistics haven't been updated. Census figures, so it's,
Yeah,
like I said,
that's true.
that'll be a committee next year. Hopefully.
Well, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Moving on to the manager's report, I would like to preference Daniel's report just quickly by saying, I really want to thank Daniel for all the work he's done in this building. And I think we all really appreciate it. And I just want to publicly acknowledge that at this meeting. And Daniel, thank you. I still have memories of everybody sitting in here and that door whipping open and everybody going, oh. You know,
I was right there.
You were,
We were all right.
you were all here. Yes, and I thought, oh, I have this big table, I can work in it. And you're like, no, you have that, you can go work over that little table and do your election thing. And, no, but it was good. And Daniel, thank you, because you had to do this every single day. And we really do appreciate it. Well,
Thank you. It was worth it. I think it's worth it, and now we all get to enjoy it, and it wouldn't have gotten done if you didn't have the vision and the, confidence that we could pull it off, and we did. We really did.
and the township staff that you have, Morgan, Lori, Cindy, everyone.
They suffered through it. We
They
suffered.
suffered.
We suffered.
Yeah.
We did suffer.
With smiles.
Yes.
That's what I was. with
Yeah.
smiles.
We tried.
Yeah, they were very gracious, and people would come in and say, I can't believe you guys work in this. And they'd all smile, so anyway, I just wanted to sit up and praise you. Thank you. And it comes from all of us.
Thank you.
And onward to your report, please.
Awesome. I'm not gonna hit on everything. There are 2 items I want to hit on. The first is that, all the municipalities in Cal Lake are continuing to work on the water agreement. So the water agreement, or updating our water agreement, is a requirement of Eagle. And technically we have a due date of December 31st. Al Meshkin in Lake Town has been so gracious and proactive and has been setting up these monthly meetings with all the managers and Heather Bishop from Eagle, who's overseeing our case, so that we could talk through our progress, we could talk through challenges we're having. Heather can give us some information. This last week, we actually all met with Heather and Andy Campbell from Baker Tilly. And he's at the point where he's met with the municipalities multiple times. He's compiled all the information. He's got some great recommendations. There will be some changes. In general, we're going to have a lot more responsibilities in terms of managing our water assets, which is probably the best thing. And he's really done a great job of identifying where we have assets, where we have needs. And so there's a lot of give and take. So the township stands to, get some things in that agreement that are going to benefit us. And we're also going to make some sacrifices, but it's definitely an agreement that is looking at what's the good for the whole. So we should have a draft soon, and when I get that draft, I will share it with you. But I did want you to know that we have been consistently working on this water agreement. It's been a lot of collaboration. There's been a lot of interesting things that come up, and that I think in the future, I'm just gonna, we're gonna be doing more with utilities. I'll be sharing more about utilities. And so that's just gonna, I think, become part of a normal, part of like normal conversation with us, just being more cognizant that we are responsible for a utility system. And Cal Lake is the operator and they're gonna help us with that, but you know, there are responsibilities that come with maintaining it. So just wanted to kind of give that update, but we're heading in a good direction. Eagle is happy with what we're doing. And we're working well together. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight, and Brenda is aware of this, and I feel like I've spoken with some of you about this, that the Friends of the Blue Star are really engaging the township and the city of Douglas to start work on the southern half of the Blue Star Trail. So from Wiley Road south to M89. So it's a much longer section. But we're gonna follow the same program. So the Friends of the Blue Star are going to agree to pay for phase 1 engineering. We've identified 2 grant programs, being the TAC grant and the trust fund. We are going to apply, after phase 1 engineering is done, we're going to apply for those grants. And then hopefully we'll get them, but I think we feel confident that we're competitive for those grants again. And then once we get those grants, we'll do phase 2 engineering and then construction. So right now for the north section, we're hoping to start construction spring of 2025. If we start on the southern section now with phase 1 engineering, we can actually start construction on the southern portion in spring 2026. So it would be very seamless to move from doing the north in the spring of 2025 to doing all the pre-work and being in the position to start construction spring 2026 for the southern portion. So I've been working with the city of Douglas and the Friends of the Blue Star to bring you a proposal for December, an engineering proposal to do that southern section. So I just kind of wanted to, you know, get that into your heads and so you can start thinking about it if you have questions. But I am hoping to bring you a proposal to do the phase 2, the southern portion of the Blue Star Trail for our December meeting. So those are the kind of the 2 big things that I just wanted to call your attention. And anything else you have questions on, I'm happy to answer.
Can I ask a water
Yeah, absolutely.
capacity question?
Yes.
Is there any update on the talks with the city of Douglas relative to water?
We had a meeting today.
Yes.
I don't want to say too much, but
It's okay.
we did get our report back and I can share that with you all. We just got it back from Prine and Newhog. They did a sewer capacity study for the city of Douglas and kind of did some models of what they think the growth potential is there and what like a full build out would be there, to demonstrate how long it would take to use their capacity. So depending on the model that you use, like, so for instance, if you use their current growth rates, they wouldn't use all of their capacity, and I don't even think they would use all of it for over 40 years. If you do a more aggressive model, it looks like more like 20 years, but then again, you know, there's a lot of other questions like, does Douglas want to see a full build out of everything that they have? There's other questions that you can ask too, but we have that information now, so we know what their average growth rate is, what a more aggressive build out would look like, how long it would take them to use all of their sewer capacity. And hopefully we can use that as a starting point to have conversations about them potentially selling a sewer capacity so that we can take new users on like AutoCam for an attainable housing project. So I think that, you know, it's going in the right direction. And we're gonna, you know, continue to have that conversation. So
Any idea on how long it might take to get agreement?
no, because it's sensitive. I'm hoping that it goes well. I mean, I'm hoping it's
Yeah.
sooner than later. It's just hard because it's a new topic for them. And there's a lot of other variables in play that I don't think that they were fully aware of. So they're gonna have to process that. But I'm hopeful that we can make a deal because I do feel that them sharing sewer capacity or selling a sewer capacity and allowing us to take on some of the development pressure and obligation would be beneficial to them. So for instance, like just having new users on the system is gonna generate more revenue for Cal Lake, because they're gonna be able to take in a lot more service fees. And that benefits everybody. If Cal Lake is bringing in more money, they have more funds available to take care of their assets and their other responsibilities. We know that like if we had all the sewer capacity and everybody wanted to build in the township, that's not necessarily a desirable position to be in. So for us to take on some of that responsibility, I also think is helpful to them. So I think that they're just gonna, they're gonna have a conversation. There's a lot of factors to consider, but I think the more you think about it, there's definitely benefits to it. The other benefit is they're the largest owner in that plant. That's a big financial obligation. To share that is beneficial.
Yeah.
If we own more stake in the treatment plant, we have more obligation and responsibility as well. So knowing that we're taking that on, and knowing that they're able to share that, I think is a mutual benefit. So we'll continue to have those conversations. I may pull one or two of you into those conversations. So that's another reason why I really wanted to highlight the water agreement. And again, like I was saying, utilities are going to become part of our just vernacular, So when we get a little farther into this sewer agreement, I am going to pull some board members in to have those conversations. But the more that I spent time with this, and I spent a lot of time with the Douglas City manager, I think there's definitely clear benefits. So hopefully we can get to the point where we can have a mutually beneficial agreement with the city of Douglas. But it's going to take a little time and conversation and patience. But
Well, and she's new. She's on a learning, the new manager.
yes, unfortunately, she knows city management good. She's got a lot of experience and working with utilities and having utility systems. So, it's not her first time to the rodeo, which is great.
No, and the challenge for us, whether it's AutoCamp or somebody else, obviously,
Yes,
is we're trying to move forward with development. It's hindered in cases like this. So, and I'm not saying AutoCamp's kind of gone quiet because of this. I hope that's all that it is. That's irrelevant. But we're anxious to get some of these things moving forward,
we have.
especially if we approve them. That's my. Thank you. It wasn't on here. I haven't had a chance to ask you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Daniel? Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
That's very good. Very informative. Now the last thing on our reports is the open board report. So I'll start with Stacy.
I would like to, say how effective the signs on Blue Star have been, from what I've observed, that nobody's parking on the shoulder anymore, and, it's just, I thought it was such a safety hazard, so I'm really, really grateful that it's working. I mean, I think it'd be nice if we could have more of a permanent sign. Maybe when the road commission sees how well it's working, they might want to rethink that, but thank you for whoever came up with that one. It's really.
It's a joint effort from the fire board, fire department and township.
Yeah.
So it was really nice.
I agree with you though, because I had comments about, because they're like, campaign signs.
Yeah,
They fall
Even if they
over.
were
I thought people would follow up on how I read
Yeah.
it, but it's not real. Me too, but they seem to work.
It does. Yeah. And Jarvis puts up all the orange cones, because they had a problem too, but they haven't had lately, even with the overpass. So once in a while I drive down there and see that it's working there.
Excellent.
First of all, I just want to, as we approach Thanksgiving, just again, thank the staff, everyone. Because every time we come to one of the meetings or we prepare for it or we read what we're supposed to read, I'm just amazed at all the things everyone does. I mean, yeah. Your heads have to go 360 degrees. The other thing, I came up I was coming home today from downtown and, I was just thinking, if I remember correctly, I don't remember everything in the red book, but we are obligated to what, have quarterly meetings? And we've never missed a meeting, but I was thinking that maybe once we might want to not have a meeting in a month, if that's even possible. Now, when you talked about the
Ordinances.
zoning
Yeah.
ordinances, I was thinking December, January would be nice, especially to give staff a break. But it's just something I came up with, something to thank people, to take a little vibe, something a little different. And I know that it fits into the rules. But that's all. I just thought, it's just one of those small things that maybe we could do and give people a break if it's possible. I'm not sure, but.
And this was a quick one.
No, I mean, everything that's pending,
Right.
especially with the
I
social.
want something important.
Yes.
But you
And
can
the
always
homework-
have a special meeting.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Interesting for how.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Hard drive's full.
Don, anything else?
No, I usually do, but I feel like my main point was to the planning commission.
Mhm.
We need more engagement.
As clerk, I just would like to add that with the elections coming up next year, first one is, February 27th. I will be using all of you for, voting to support that, but I would like you to encourage any of your friends or anyone that you think would be very good to come in and sign up to, work. Because you're not gonna be able to probably participate in the next two elections.
Right.
And, it's gonna be a challenge. I know it's gonna be a challenge for us. 9 days is a lot different than just one. Actually, it's 10 days total. And last year, we were fortunate that we had loaned Manlius, some of our people to work too, and I've already heard from other communities that they're very worried and they're saying, if you have any people you can lend us, we need people. So I really encourage you to do that, and I don't think I'll have Bob scheduled until after Christmas for training. But I will have the applications on my desk in the office, which is that little corner by Lori, and I'll do that Friday morning, I'll put them, so.
They do not have to be Saugatuck Township residents, right?
No,
They
you
give you-
really don't have to be, because we've sent residents from here to work in Manlius and, Banjie.
I would
Right,
definitely
now,
be
just-
open to that.
Okay,
So conversely, because of our situation,
Right.
yes,
we could work the August primary and or
and
general
any
election.
other
It
time,
just wouldn't be.
yes.
Yes.
No certainty. But if they need help, right, that's good. Go to Manlius.
I think 3 years ago, or
What
no,
did
not
they
3,
need?
but a couple years ago, we did have people who were running for Saugatuck Council.
Right.
working
I
our
remember
election. Yeah,
So we.
so you
you
can
know,
work, you could work anybody else with this one. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And, thank you. At this point, then, if there's no other comments, Daniel, anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay, I want to conclude with just echoing Brenda and saying thank you to staff and everyone at this table this evening, and Abby was not able to make it, but also to our community. We appreciate your trust in us. And we appreciate everything the township staff, so thank you. And the meeting is now adjourned at